Electric cars are everywhere now. They are fast, they are clean, they are the future, or at least that's the plan. But here's the thing, not every electric car is a winner. In fact, some are absolutely terrible. From cars that look like science experiments, to others that barely made it out of the driveway. Today, we're diving into the biggest electric flops the industry has ever seen. So buckle up, because these are the worst electric cars ever made. 1. Fisker Karma, 2012. The Fisker Karma was a car that promised everything. It was sleek, it was luxurious, and it came with a price tag to match, over $100,000. Designed by Henrik Fisker, the man behind the Aston Martin DB9, it turned heads everywhere. It went, but underneath the beauty was a mountain of problems. It was a plug-in hybrid, not a full EV, which confused a lot of early buyers. The all-electric range, about 32 miles. After that, a gas-powered generator took over, and then came the real issues. Battery fires, software glitches, charging problems. Even Consumer Reports said it broke down during testing. Fisker burned through hundreds of millions of dollars. And in 2013, just 1 year after launch, the company declared bankruptcy. The Karma still exists today under a new company called Karma Automotive. But the original Fisker Karma, it was style over substance. A beautiful disaster. 2. BMW i3, 2013. When BMW revealed the i3, the world was confused. It didn't look like any BMW we'd ever seen. It had funky proportions, narrow wheels, and suicide rear doors. But it was innovative. BMW built it with a carbon fiber body, lightweight and strong. They made it electric from the ground up, and it was meant to be a futuristic city car. Sounds great on paper, but in real life, the early models had a range of just 80 miles, and that dropped even lower in cold weather. The optional gas range extender helped, slightly, but it added weight and complexity without solving the core problem. The interior was also a mixed bag. Modern, yes, but cramped and awkward for passengers. And worst of all, it was expensive. Many buyers simply went with a Tesla Model 3 or a Nissan Leaf instead. The i3 wasn't terrible, but it felt like a science experiment BMW forced onto the streets. It never quite found its place, and it was quietly discontinued in 2022. 3. Mitsubishi IMIV, 2011. This one's rough. The Mitsubishi IMIV might be the least exciting electric car ever made. It was based on a Japanese K car, tiny, light, and built for narrow roads. But for the US market, it was just strange. The design? Round, narrow, and tall, like a jelly bean on wheels. The interior? Hard plastics everywhere. The range? A dismal 62 miles on a full charge, and that was with perfect weather and flat roads. Top speed? Just about 80 miles per hour. If you floored it, going uphill with passengers, good luck. And for all of that, you paid over $30,000 before incentives. Mitsubishi tried to sell it as a city EV, but with competitors offering better range, better looks, and better features. The IMAV never stood a chance. It quietly vanished from the lineup by 2017. And honestly, most people didn't even notice. 4. Riva G-Wiz, 2008. The Riva G-Wiz is infamous in the UK, but not for good reasons. First off, it wasn't even legally a car. It was classified as a quadricycle, a European loophole that allowed very light vehicles on the road with minimal safety standards. That should already raise red flags. Top speed, 50 miles per hour. Range, around 40 to 50 miles. On a good day, it ran on lead-acid batteries. Yes, lead-acid, not lithium. But the worst part? Its safety. Crash tests show that even a modest impact could cause catastrophic cabin collapse. One crash test dummy's head actually struck the steering wheel so hard that the entire dummy collapsed into itself. It became a joke in car circles, and a symbol of everything wrong with early EVs. It was cheap, yes, but at what cost? Today, the G-Wiz is a cautionary tale of cutting corners and risking lives in the name of innovation. 5. Think City, 2009. Norway's Think Global had bold ambitions. They wanted to make an electric city car that was compact, green, and affordable. And so they created the Think City. It had a small footprint, a plastic body, and a claimed range of 100 miles. But reality quickly set in. The ride was rough. The interior looked unfinished. And the price? over $40,000 in the US. Ford, who once had a stake in the company, pulled out before launch. Production started, then stopped, then restarted, then stopped again. By 2012, Think Global was bankrupt. Again, it was their second or third bankruptcy in a decade, and that was the end of the road. Another EV startup, gone before it ever really began. 6. Coda EV, 2010. You've probably never heard of the Coda EV, and honestly, that's probably for the best. This was a California-based company that sold a Chinese-built sedan with an electric powertrain. It had decent specs on paper, an 88-mile range, decent acceleration, and a usable trunk. But in real life, it looked like a budget car from the 90s. The interior was bland and outdated. Build quality was inconsistent, and crash test scores were poor. And the price? $4,000 to $5,000. Coda sold fewer than 120 cars before shutting down. Their bankruptcy wasn't a surprise. It was a slow-motion car crash. 7. VinFast VF8, 2023. Now let's talk about a very recent disaster. The VinFast VF8 launched in the United States with big promises. Vietnamese startup VinFast aimed to be the next Tesla, but the reality was far from that. Reviews were brutal. Early test drivers reported weird handling, buggy infotainment, and a ride quality that felt incomplete. Even top YouTubers in the EV space called it unfinished and not ready for market. To make matters worse, VinFast was leasing the battery separately. You had to pay monthly just to use a full car. VinFast has since tried to fix many of these issues with software updates, but the damage to their reputation is already done. It's a reminder that making a good EV is really hard, and rushing one to market, that's how you end up on lists like this. 8. Nissan Leaf, first generation, 2011. Now hold on. Before you come for us, yes, we know, the Nissan Leaf helped launch the modern EV era. It was affordable, it was practical, and it introduced a lot of people to electric driving. But the first generation had major issues. The biggest? Battery degradation. Nissan chose not to include thermal management for the battery, meaning hot climates could destroy battery life in just a few years. Many early Leaf owners saw their range drop from 80 miles to under 50, sometimes even less. It earned the nickname the battery killer. The Leaf has since improved drastically, but those early models, they were rough, and they taught the industry a very important lesson. Always protect the battery. Electric vehicles are here to stay, but their journey hasn't been smooth. For every Tesla Model S, there was a G-Reef. For every breakthrough, a breakdown. For every game changer, a massive mistake. But that's how progress works. These cars, bad as they were, helped push the industry forward. They showed us what not to do, and made space for the incredible EVs we have today. Which one of these disasters shocked you the most? Did we miss one that really deserves a spot? Let us know in the comments. And if you love stories like this, about the weird, wild, and sometimes tragic world of cars, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. We'll see you on the next ride.